Introducing the Open Palm Podcast, hosted by Jerome Shaw. Available today on your favorite podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor.fm, and many more. The Open Palm Podcast, where the host engages his listeners with inspirational messages, motivating themes, and thought-provoking ideas. Topics include: make more mistakes, how much is your value, don't get right, get going, learning to let go, excellence is a habit, and more. Binge listen today. Subscribe today. It's getting excellent ratings. That's the Open Palm Podcast, hosted by Jerome Shaw. You can also find it on YouTube. Make sure you share it with your social networks and connect on Twitter and Instagram at Jerome Shaw. That's the Open Palm Podcast with Jerome Shaw. Available today on your favorite podcasting platforms. Go listen, download, and subscribe now.
The tipping point. The tipping point. My friend, have you ever reached a tipping point in your life? In a pursuit, in a cause, in an endeavor, in a hobby, in a skill, in an expertise? Did you push yourself beyond to reach the tipping point? What do we speak of? The tipping point means that up to a certain point, a new force will have a difficult time making any progress. Often we are doing things over and over again, but when we find magic in the mundane, when we find momentum in pushing that boulder all the way up the mountain, that huge amount of effort is needed to obtain very little results in the beginning. But it is during this time that most people give up. Now, most people fall off by the wayside. Most people just stop. They quit on themselves, they quit on their dream, and they discontinue their pursuit of their own happiness, their own fulfillment. But the thing about the tipping point is that if the new force persists long enough and crosses the invisible line, a small amount of additional force provides immense results. That is the boulder going over the side of the hill, my friend. And now it is rolling of its own accord, its own volition. Now it is rolling on its own momentum. The tipping point, my friend. You know, it reminds me one time when I was practicing ninjutsu. They call it bujinkan, the art of ninjutsu in California. When I was practicing this, we went out during the night, and we'd be in black garb under the moonlight in the grass, rolling around, practicing our katas and practicing locks on each other. And I remember I had a partner named Eric, who was a pretty heavyset guy. But I remember him putting me in a lock that hinged my joints in my arm and my elbow. And I remember all he had to do with me in this lock, where I only felt a little bit of pain in the lock, but it was at a certain point, a certain hinge, this physicality that he was able to understand the anatomy of the body through years of practice and my geometry, to know that all he had to do was press down with his pinky on my elbow joint. And I was in intense pain. I screamed out, "Ah!" Ah! There was intense pain because my body had reached the tipping point. The point that when a new force persists long enough, it crosses that invisible line which I had crossed, even a small amount of additional force provided that immense result, or in my case, immense pain. Jay-Z said the genius thing we did was we didn't give up. That's it. The most genius thing we did was we just didn't give up. We just didn't quit. We just kept on going. I went from liking things like roller skating to loving it when I passed the tipping point, when I passed that point of immense enjoyment. When I fell and I'd fallen so many times that I lost my fear of falling. After that, I was free. And everyone else started to wonder how I got to that level. Well, it was because I no longer cared. I was immersed in the process, and now my momentum was carrying me to freedom. Jerome says motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. My friend, don't rely just on motivation. Allow habit to keep you going, to pass the tipping point in your life, in your beliefs, in your business, whatever endeavor that you choose to pursue. Allow the tipping point to help you. Thank you for listening. This has been Jerome Shaw on TOP. That is the Open Palm Podcast here in San Antonio, Texas. The Open Palm means harmony with the world, understanding our place in the world, using our skills accordingly, greeting the world with an open palm instead of a closed fist. I pray that you did receive a message from this episode today and that was encouraging for you. You would share it with a like-minded individual who is learning and growing and becoming their greatest version, pursuing their tipping point in their life. Pay it forward today so more can hear the message. If you resonated with this and gained value from the episode, I would invite you to become a supporter of the podcast, as many others have, by clicking and opening your browser to anchor.fm/jshaw, that little support button there. Clicking that is much appreciated, my friend. Even taking just a moment of your time to give this a positive rating on whatever platform you have chosen to listen to it is much appreciated. And thank you to all the donations that continue to come in. You are the reason, my friend. I appreciate you. Have a blessed day or night wherever you are. Keep pushing and take care. Hey there, my friend. So you've heard about Anchor, but do you know why it's the easiest way to make a podcast? Well, first off, it's free. It allows you to use creation tools that let you record your podcast right from your phone or computer. It also distributes your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can even make money from your podcast with minimum listenership. It's everything you need in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Can't wait to hear yours. Let's see what you have to offer the world.